Hey everyone, it's June 28th, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share with serial killer Carl Panzram, who murdered at least 22 men and boys in the 1920s, though some estimate he killed over 100 victims. And that is him, right up there. The son of Prussian immigrants, Panzram was born in Minnesota in 1891 and grew up working on the family farm. When truancy laws went into effect and the kids were sent to school, his parents just had him work at night, getting as little as 2 hours of sleep before being back in class the next morning. If he misbehaved, his parents would chain and beat him, and his father left the family when he was a young boy. He first ran afoul of the law at the age of 8, charged with being drunk and disorderly, and after a theft at the age of 12, Panzram ended up in a reform school where he was beaten and sodomized by the staff. He hated the school and burned it down after his release before running away from home, riding the rails, crossing the country by train hopping. Running into many unsavory types on his travels, his later autobiography revealed that he was gang raped by hobos during his travels, which made him a sadder, sicker, and wiser boy. He supported himself by robbing people and ended up back behind bars multiple times for theft. At the age of 15, Panzram enlisted in the army, but refused to follow orders and was frequently beaten for his insubordination. When he was caught stealing $80 worth of supplies, he was sentenced to 2 years in Leavenworth, with his sentence approved by then Secretary of War William Howard Taft. As an adult, he continued his thieving ways, except he now often beat and raped his robbery victims instead of just stealing from them. He was incarcerated off and on under extremely harsh conditions for most of the next decade, but during a stint in Oregon in 1918, he escaped and headed east, raping and robbing as he went. In 1920, Panzram burglarized the now former President Taft's home in Connecticut, stealing jewelry, bonds, and a .45 caliber handgun that he ended up using in several of his murders. He bought a yacht with Taft's money, which is the opposite of what happens now when politicians buy things with the money given to them by wealthy yacht owners. Shortly thereafter, he began his killing spree, during which he would lure sailors in New York away from bars, get them drunk, rape them, then shoot them and dump them in the river. He wrote in his autobiography that he wasn't attracted to men, but raping his victims was his method of showing dominance. After 10 murders, he left for Angola, where he sexually assaulted multiple children, killed a 12-year-old boy, and fed 6 tour guides to crocodiles before returning to the States. Panzram got back in 1922 and picked up where he left off, killing a man and 2 small boys, beating one to death with a rock. He was a better murderer than he was a thief, being apprehended again in 1928 for a burglary, and he freely confessed at that time to his terrible crimes, writing that he had murdered 21 human beings, committed thousands of burglaries, robberies, larcenies, arsons, and last but not least, committed sodomy on more than 1,000 male human beings. Panzram concluded by saying, "For all these things, I am not in the least bit sorry." Sentenced to another stretch in Leavenworth, he killed a fellow prisoner, for which he was sentenced to death. He penned his autobiography while on death row, which wasn't published until 40 years later. Hanged in 1930, when asked if he had any last words, Panzram said, "Yes, hurry it up, you Hoosier bastard. I could kill 10 men while you're fooling around." If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone's birthday it is today, send them this video. And to Carl Panzram, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.